Welcome to this CarGurus UK video review of the 2023 Volkswagen Amarok. Do you know what? I'm starting to feel a strange sense of déjà vu. That's because not so long ago I reviewed the new Ford Ranger, which is a very close relation of Volkswagen's latest pickup. The Amarok uses the same platform as well as the same engines and gearboxes, and that is because of a tie-up between the two commercial divisions of those companies. So effectively, the Amarok is a rebadged and rebodied version of the Ranger, just like the Tourneo Connect is effectively a rebadged and rebodied version of the Caddy Life. Now the good news is, we already like the Ranger. We think it's one of the best pickups on the market, so the Amarok is off to a good start. It certainly looks distinctive, and despite being built alongside of the Ford, it shares very little of that vehicle's bodywork. In fact, pretty much everything from the window line down is unique for the Volkswagen, including the cargo area, which can also be used as a salsa dancing stage. This measures 1.62 metres long and 1.58 metres wide and can carry a payload of up to 1.1 tonnes depending on which model you choose. Out of the Ranger and the Amarok, which one you prefer in terms of design and styling is down to personal preference. What we will say though is neither is subtle. The Amarok is slightly less aggressive in its appearance, but it's still a beast of a truck. Everything is oversized and boxy, and it makes the previous generation Amarok actually look quite subtle. This second generation Amarok measures 1.9 metres wide, excluding its enormous door mirrors, and it's 5.3 metres long. That's 10 centimetres longer than the old model, which was already humongous. Once you're in, you'll find there's loads of space back here. In fact, you can fit 3 tall adults side by side without any cause for complaint. I'm 5'4.5", so I don't fall into that tall adult category, and I am very much enjoying the space back here. There's also power sockets, including a 3-pin plug, which is really nifty. And the quality and design is more like an SUV than a pickup. Thumbs up. Other creature comforts for those sitting in the back include air vents and a central armrest complete with 2 cup holders. Here in the front of the Amarok, there are a few signs that it has been built in collaboration with Ford, but Volkswagen has done a very good job of making it its own. And quality-wise, there are a few hard, robust plastics which you would expect from a pickup, but these are complemented with this leather effect on top of the dash here and some wood effect trim here. So it definitely looks pretty premium. The Amarok also feels high-tech. Like the Ranger, it uses a portrait-mounted touchscreen, which measures 10.1 inches on the entry-level model and 12 inches on higher trims. It has good graphics and the menu layouts are fine, plus it includes Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. We have just 2 gripes with the touchscreen. The first is that the software is a little slow to respond, although it's not awful in that regard. The second is that Ford has decided to put physical buttons for the air conditioning and climate control settings, whereas Volkswagen has opted to include it only in the touchscreen. And it's not so easy to find and therefore not as safe. Like the Ranger, the Amarok features a range of driving modes, which on models with an automatic gearbox can be engaged at the touch of a button. And you'll know which one you're in because you get a fancy animation on the Amarok's digital dials. While we haven't tried its off-road modes, there's nothing to suggest the Amarok isn't very capable when the going gets tough. The engine range in the Amarok almost mirrors that of the Ranger, apart from you do not get a petrol version. Instead, you can have Ford's 170 horsepower diesel with a 6-speed manual, or you can have a twin-turbo 205 horsepower diesel with a 10-speed automatic. Last but not least, VW offers a 3-litre V6 turbo diesel with 240 horsepower, which also comes with a 10-speed automatic and is also borrowed from Ford. In this test car, we have the middle of the 3 engine options, which is the 205 horsepower 2-litre twin turbo diesel. And if you put your foot down, it will get from 0 to 62 in 10.5 seconds, which for a vehicle of this size and weight is pretty respectable. More useful to know know for pickup buyers is it can tow 3.5 tons and carry over a ton in its load bed, which makes it tax efficient as a commercial vehicle. Regardless of whether it's intended to be used as a workhorse or a family vehicle, the Amarok puts a decent performance in when it comes to road manners. Volkswagen has tuned the suspension and steering specifically for the Amarok, but it is by and large very similar to the Ranger, which is not a bad thing because both of these pickups are very quiet and reasonably comfortable to drive. You'll feel the body move around you more than you would in an SUV, but it is impressively composed, especially given it has rear leaf suspension and a body-on-frame design. Performance from the diesel engine is strong, and the 10-speed automatic gearbox generally does a good job of putting you in the right gear at the right time, although it can be hesitant off the line. In terms of fuel economy, we've averaged around 27 to 28 miles per gallon in mixed driving, making this a match for the Ranger. Come to a corner and you'll find the Amarok's steering is a little bit slower than an SUV. It just needs a little bit more twirling before the front of the car will turn in and do anything. Once you're used to it though, the Amarok is an easy vehicle to drive. It's just the sheer size that you might need to get used to. Thanks to its boxy shape and design, the corners are quite easy to judge. It towers over most other vehicles, so you'll still need to be fairly confident to drive it around busy towns and cities and along narrow country roads. Like the Ranger, the Amarok is easy to recommend, providing you do actually need a pickup. If you just like the look of it and you think it will work like an SUV, then you might want to reconsider, because it doesn't drive as well as an SUV, and even though that load bed is absolutely huge, it's not as easy to access as a hatchback. Mind you, you could say that about any pickup. Where the Amarok sets itself apart is largely in its interior quality, which is closer to an SUV than any of its rivals. If you're considering buying an Amarok, do bear in mind that it is £3,000 more expensive than a Ranger in equivalent specification and equipment levels. Some of that is going towards a posher interior and more upmarket image, but it's also worth noting that Volkswagen throws in a stronger ownership package. You get 5 years of servicing, warranty and roadside assistance, whereas the Ranger only gets 3 years of warranty. So it is a pickup that you can buy with your head as well as your heart. If you'd like to see how the Amarok sibling performs, click to see our review of the Ford Ranger. And if you want to find an Amarok or indeed any car for sale, head to cargurus.co.uk for loads of great deals from top-rated dealers.